Hi, I'm Red.
I'm Havoc.
Honey Badger.
And we're from Texas NIGHTSTALKERS Paintball. We're here to do a loader review for you guys. Shout out to Pro Edge Paintball, who not only provided us with the loaders that you see here today behind us, but they also gave us a bunch of really great prizes to give out to somebody who liked, shares, or comments on this video. So we have some really great stuff from Exalt. We have like bayonet swabs, or bayonet barrel covers, barrel-made swabs. We have tank covers. We also have some Pro Edge gloves. We have some dye T-shirts. We have some dye sticker sheets. So we have all kinds of cool stuff. We're going to give some stuff away to 4 winners.
Nice little lanyards.
Lanyards are great. We're going to be giving stuff away to 4 lucky winners, those who like, share, or comment on the videos below. And really great that we have Exalt products. I wanted to give a little shout out to Exalt. This is really the player's choice brand for it's the small stuff that you need in your kit, whether that's a barrel cover or a swab or whatever you need. Exalt makes like the highest quality. So really great that we're going to be able to hand out some Exalt gear. All right. So the loaders that we have for today, these are all high-end loaders. All right? These are all going to be north of $100, or in the case of one loader, at $100. And these are the kinds of loaders you'll see in tournament play. And the reason that we're going to review these loaders and not anything below $100 is that these are really the quality loaders out there. This is the kind of stuff you should be spending your money on. You can get, there are cheaper loaders out there. There's the Halo. They still have the Halo out there, and but they are battery hogs. They're not easy to disassemble. They require tools. But these are all going to be toolless to do the basic functions, change batteries, clean them out. These are all going to be very robust, very thick plastics.
Don't have to worry about them getting hit.
Right, you're not going to be worried about them getting broken or shattering or cracking or anything like that. So robust, very efficient on battery power. So all of these use AA batteries, and most of them use 2-3 batteries, and they last for a long time on just 2 or 3 batteries. So very efficient, and they are just reliable loaders. So we're going to go through all these loaders. We're going to tell you a little bit about them. They all do the same thing. They all feed paint, and they all do a good job of it. So don't leave this review thinking that any of these loaders are poor quality, because they're all very good quality. But they all do what they do just a little bit differently, and we want to show you guys some of the features there so you can decide for yourself which is the best loader for you.
Might want to mention that no matter how much you spend on a paintball gun, if your loader doesn't work, your paintball gun is completely worthless.
Right.
So spend a couple extra dollars and get a decent loader.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you're shooting a Tippet 98, you put a rotor on there, or you put Spire or the HK TFX, and you're going to have a consistent feed of paint. On the other hand, if you put a cheap loader on a nice paintball gun, like say the LV1 or the M2 or something really nice, and you put like a cheap loader that doesn't feed well, then the gun's not going to be able to fire without paint. A lot of these have eyes, and different things to prevent chopping, and a good loader comes first. So no matter what gun you have, if it takes a standard loader and has an adjustable feed neck, get one of these loaders that we show you guys today. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. Right here is the R2, the Rotor 2 from Dye. This is the sequel to the Rotor, but it's priced above the Rotor, and it has some features that the Rotor didn't have. So this guy's about $200 to $250 based on options. All right, based on the colors. Some colors and options are cheaper, some are more expensive. All right. The nice thing about this is that it has this nice big viewing window when you expand it upwards, and it can hold up to 260 rounds. So most of these loaders are 200-round loaders, but this guy can, you press a button here on the back, and it can expand upwards to 260 rounds. That's kind of the main feature. It does have a larger hole here for loading paint, so you might lose less paint if you're loading on the fly really fast. But if you don't want the bigger profile and the extra capacity, all you got to do is move this button to the side and then collapse the loader down to 200 capacity. I do want to say that it may need some break-in. I don't know, this is not mine, but it is kind of tough to bring it up and down. So not something you may want to do on the field, something you want to do in preparation for a game or your point or whatever you're doing. It uses the same spinning arm paddle system that you found in the Rotor, which is great for feeding really fast. All right, so the Rotors are the fastest feeding, at least in my experience. loaders on the market. Get this guy shut. They're the fastest feeding on the market, but the spinning arms are known to jam. They did try to fix that on the R2 by making everything a little bit bigger and having some more space there, but it's the same design, and it's just not good for, say, reballs, which have a rubbery exterior and will stick more to surfaces, and it's not great for bad paint. So a lot of guys that, I mean, I was running an event in Dallas, and we had really poor quality paint, then it was really humid, and everyone who had rotors were jamming, and it's just, there is a thin system on the bottom, so you can manually, push the ball through and try to get that jam unjammed, but sometimes it doesn't work. And so that doesn't work for everybody. It is a very reliable system. It won't break down. They are very robust. I had my rotor for 3 years, and I bought it used, so I don't know how much use they got before. I owned it, but it's never broken down on me. It's very efficient on battery life. But if you're using less than good quality paint, you may run into a jamming issue. So that's the Rotor 2. Like I said, the key feature here is the expandability. Speed feeds are extra. You got to purchase those outside of the loader itself. All right, and other than that, it's just a solid quality loader. If you want to see more in depth, taking apart and all that kind of stuff, there are other great reviews out there for that. But we want to be able to just jump right through these loaders.
Sure.
All right.
So you touch base on all of your R2 stuff, as you can see. It's going to modify all those points that you would get that everybody loves about the original rotor. And that's why they came out, when they came out with the R2, they came out with the LTR as well. Now this is basically going to be almost like an R1 rotor. You're going to have all the same features, same great reliability options that you're going to have. But with the R2, you have your expandability option, which this doesn't have. And you're going to have a lot of good color features, which this also doesn't have. But you really have to ask yourself, how much are those two things worth for you? Because while your R2 is going to be coming in at $200 to $250 depending on your color, the LTR is going to come in at an even $100. Now a lot can be said for that, and you can say this is a really good price point and a good value for your money. They are very well known for their reliability. It's one of the best-selling loaders on the field and in the game, because that it's always going to be working for you. It does have a spring feed in the bottom, so if you are running low on paint, it's going to feed it well to it. If it's decent quality paint, it's always going to fire. Sometimes you're going to have issues with lower quality or dimpled paint, of course, but that's why it does have that reload option on the bottom. So bang for your buck. This particular loader at this point only comes in 4 different colors, all black, or this little strip you see on the top can change between 3 different colors. So if you don't need a lot of the fancy features, this one doesn't have any windows on it. If you want something that is going to shoot every time, and that's all you're really worried about, this is a good option for you. Okay. What do we got next, Honey Badger?
All right, here we've got a new option by GI Sportz, the GI Sportz LVL. It basically falls right in the price range, right in the middle. So it's not at the bottom, not at the top, whatever. And you get all the features of all the other ones, except this one is really fast. So if you have a really fast marker, and for whatever reason your other loader is not able to keep up, this one just might be able to do it. There are some drawbacks to this though. You don't have a whole lot of color options here. I think only like 5 color options, like white, red, green, that kind of stuff, blue maybe. You get this little rain cover, but the rain cover comes with another caveat to it, that in order to take the rain cover off, you need a special tool to take it off. So this isn't going to happen in the field, this is going to happen before the game. It's probably pretty easy to put back on, I imagine. So if you start with the speed loader on the top, open, no rain cover, and then it does the rain clouds come around, I imagine it's probably pretty easy to pull this out of the bag and throw it on real quick without a tool. That appears to be what the case is, although we really haven't tested it. But it's a
nice feature though. It does come with the speed feed.
Then it comes with it, yeah. So that saves you, like, I don't know, $20 in comparison to the other guys. This is a very robust guy. You know, there's no really viewing windows here. There's nothing really to break on this. Even taking this on and off, breaking the clamshell apart is pretty robust. You've got a little safety switch here, and then you have to hit a whole nother button just to pull it apart. Which brings us to why this is different and why it's so fast. If you've ever owned several other, loaders, you're going to notice this loader looks a little different. It has an outer spinning ring instead of your usual arm, I guess they would usually call it on the other ones.
Or a spinning tray or something.
Or a spinning tray, something like this. So this one is just, its ring spins around, and it kind of forces everything into this ramp right here, a reverse ramp right there. So this ring is able to spin very, very fast. It's got a very powerful motor in here, which is powered by 4 AA batteries. So this guy's also a little heavy, but you got a really powerful motor in there. I imagine that's going to probably be pretty robust in the long run. But all that power comes with one little drawback, which is that. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but that's pretty darn loud. So
it's easily almost twice as loud as any of the other loaders.
Right.
You have.
Oh yeah. This is the loudest loader. Maybe the VLs from back in the day were this loud, but
right.
any modern loader, this is really, really loud. So I imagine it's probably not that big of a deal, especially if you're playing speedball, because you don't really care how much noise is being made. You're yelling to your guys and stuff. If you're doing scenario ball, it might be a problem because it's really loud, so it's going to add to the noise of your gun. But I don't know. I find it kind of annoying, but maybe you don't really care. Overall, though, this guy is very robust. Middle price point. It just works.
Yeah,
it's fast.
It's a fast, quality loader, but yeah, it's loud. So that is the drawback on this guy.
For sure.
The speed feed's nice. So we're going to jump right to the Valken VSL. That's Valken Switch loader. All right. Now this is pretty cool. This comes in at $130, so $20 under the price of the GI Sportz LVL, but it doesn't have that speed feed, and that's another $20. So when you add the speed feed, this is the same price as the GI Sportz loader. Now Valken, they tried a loader before, didn't work out so great. They used like 2 9-volt batteries. It was a real big hog on batteries, and it just wasn't the right loader for a lot of people. But they've come out with the Switch, and this is a huge step up, and this is a real contender in my opinion with the other loaders that are out here. Now what's really cool about this is the reason why it's called the Switch is because you can take it apart, and it has the gearing right here, and you can unlock it and remove it, and you can switch this with another one that comes in the box that makes it a 50 cal loader. So there are no loaders that feed 50 cal paint, and so this is a 68. Right now it's 68, and if you had the other one, you put it in here, it'd be 50 cal. So that's the only electronic loader that does this, that's pretty cool, because I know over at Tank's Paintball Park, for instance, for the young guys, the little kids, they're switching over to 50 cal because it hurts less, and the kids have a better time playing. So that's pretty cool that Valken is supporting that with their
Just
products.
to clear up there, Red, do you have to buy the separate paddles?
No, it comes in the box.
Okay.
That's part of it, right. The other part it has this insert right here. So I'm taking it apart here. First, with the tab, it comes apart a lot like the rotor does. It has this insert, and when the insert's in, so I had it in before, it can hold 250 rounds. When it's out, it's a 200 round loader. So at $130, you're getting more or less the same feature that the R2 has, but at a much lower price point. But you do have to take off the shell and pull this part off. You can't just expand it like you can on the R2. But if you feel like you're somebody who just wants to run more paint, maybe you're a scenario player, you just want to reload less, then this is a great option for you. And that's really cool. They're able to just kind of slip this in here as an insert. Whoop, I didn't lock that down all the way. You can slip that in there as an insert, and run a bigger loader with more paint. And that is important for a lot of players. So this comes back together.
Just to reiterate, this is the only speed loader for 50 cal.
Only one.
Only one on
Only one on the market. All right. Now, it is robust plastic. It comes apart pretty easy. It's a little more difficult when you have the insert in, you know, if you're just running as a 200 round loader, it's definitely very, very easy to assemble and reassemble on the field. So if you ever have a jam, that comes to the next part. This loader has a spinning tray in the bottom, and you might remember that from, say, the Halos or from the Empire Z2 loaders, and those were really good on paint that wasn't great, whether that was misshapen paint or low quality paint or if it were reballs. But this loader, it feeds a bit slower. It's probably the slowest of the bunch at about 15 balls per second consistently. It feeds anything. It'll feed whatever ball you put in there, a reball, bad ball, good ball, and you know, at 15 balls per second, that's tournament legal by a long shot.
I was going to say, tournament ball is only, what, 10 and a half?
Yeah, it's only 10 and a half. So
even as the slowest, it's still more than
It's still more than enough, right? Yeah. It's still sufficient. And I mean, the guys on Infamous, I mean, they were running around with you know, these loaders just in the most recent NXL event, and they did, you know,
had good things to say about it too.
They had good things to say about it and had no issues. So, you know, the pros, they're using these kinds of loaders, and some of them are using $130 loaders, and some of them are using, you know, $200 loaders, you know, and so it works out. So what do we have next?
Well, next we're going to be looking at our HK option, and this HK is actually the only one that we are leaving in the box that it comes in, specifically because this is the only one that actually comes with a box. Just like the other ones we were talking about, where you'd have to buy a speed feed extra, and that's going to be something else. Most of these, you're going to have to buy a box or some kind of case to carry them in when you put them in the gear bag when you're not using them.
And Exalt makes one for about 20, 30 bucks.
Yeah, so it's going to be an extra 20 or 30 bucks for any of those that you're going to be running. You might just leave it in the box that it runs in, but that's only going to last you for so long before it starts wearing out, and you're going to have to buy one. So this is actually the HK model that comes out. This is the TFX. This is actually a nice option. You've got the multicam that they provided us to look at here. And if you can tell, it's actually a longer, slightly longer, and a pretty short option in terms of bigger profile. So you're going to have less of an option, less of a target. Which
I really like that.
Yeah,
Nice,
the rotor
low,
right next
small,
to it.
low profile, yeah.
So you can
So
see
we'll
it's
put it
kind of
right
sticking
there.
up from the top a lot higher. And it's a little more narrow as well. Okay. So that's certainly one of your perks that you're going to get with this loader. It is very difficult to pick up the top, which initially we were thinking, man, that's real hard. If you can see, it's kind of hard to pop that top off. But one of the things you know is when you get a good speed feed, it's going to last you for several years. And a lot of times what will happen is every time you pop that off, it's going to start wearing out that little plastic joint. And man, that's when you get a lot of those accidental drops where you bump into something, lid opens up and everything's falling out. That's when you get a lot of those embarrassing pictures that you're going to see on the websites. So we were hesitant about that in the first, but I actually found out that if you really just come at it from the side, and it just takes one finger and it pops right open. So it's really robust and sturdy. You know it's not going to pop off easy, but if you know the tricks, it's going to open up just fine. This is just like the others. It does have a spring bottom, so if you're running low on paint, it's going to push it up and continue to feed it. It is going to have those cycles in there, so it's going to run. One of the other negatives I was really hesitant about with this is, you know, Night Stalkers, we play a lot of night games. So we are always very wary of any kind of bright lights that you're going to see on your loader. It's going to give you a way for trying to hide out. So all of those we have to block. This one has 3 different lights in the back, but when it's on, you can see, man, that light is so bright.
It's like a flashlight.
Yeah, that's going to blind you even during the daytime with that. If you're looking the wrong way, that's going to really affect you. So that's definitely something you'd have to cover up or block it off. It's not very loud, and it does have steady feed. It does run with eyes. So it will stop as soon as it feels any restriction. Okay. The other button in the back, of course, is if you do have any kind of blocks, it will run when it's stopped, and it will force it to try and push it out. So you do have to pay extra for the speed feed top, but you get a lot more color options from this than you would from some of the others in the similar price point. And like I pointed out before, you get this nice little case. So a good option in the middle of the pack if you want to try something a little different than you might see from other options out there.
Alright, now we're going to move on to our last loader, the Spire 3, right over here.
Here we got him, Spire 3, which is an update to the original Spire and Spire 2, made by Virtue, of course.
Right.
You can see that there's a number of different buttons, both top and bottom, but the general shape is pretty much the same. It's got the same profile, it's got the same, you know, angled sides, it's got the
People
same
are going to look at it and know
height.
it's Spire.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I mean, it looks exactly the same pretty much. You know, there's some subtle differences, but let's go over what the differences are. Now, first of all, I've always really liked the Spire. The Spire has been extremely reliable for me, and, you know, with other people we've talked with, we found that, you know, throughout the community, everybody thinks that the Spire is very reliable. It even feeds reballs,
Right.
no problem. But because of that reliability, they basically thought they never have to worry about jamming of any kind. So in the original Spire, there was no mechanism for taking care of a jam if one was to happen. They also had a couple flaws with the buttons. I have the upgraded buttons here, but originally these buttons were kind of fragile and they would break a lot of times in the places. Here comes the Spire 3, which has basically taken all those problems into account, solves all those problems, and has even added a couple really awesome features in my opinion. So the buttons are no longer a problem. Those buttons now are unbreakable. Nothing's sticking out there, nothing's going to break on you. The jamming issue, now, to be perfectly honest, never ever ever had a jam in the original one. One time it stopped working or something. I think it was a battery issue, and I changed out the batteries and it went again. But never ever had a jamming issue. Regardless, you still want to have some sort of jam release in case you get, you know, one paintball that's like way too big or way dimpled, or maybe it's gummy because somehow, you know, whatever, rain got on it or something, and now it's swelled and it's gotten stuck. So you want to be able to jam something. So they thought about that, and what they've done is they've added this button here on the bottom. Now when you hit that button, it causes the mechanism here to speed up, and even if it senses that, even if it's in a state of not moving, you hit that button and automatically it causes it to jolt forward. And that's important for the Spire because the Spire is a little bit different than the other guys. There's no eyes on this. There's no, you know, actual sensor to tell you if there's a ball in the chamber or in the feed tube or not. The way this Spire works and all the other Spires works is it senses like the friction, if you're full of balls or not, or if you have balls stacked up. It kind of can tell. And let me show you. So let's say there's balls in there. Now it sensed it. Okay, so now what it's done is it says, okay, I know I'm completely full. I know I've got a stack of balls. I can sense it. It doesn't care if there's balls in the eyes or, you know, if there's balls actually in here. It can actually sense it there. And then if you fire, it feels the vibration and it starts going again. The nice part about that is, see, oh, we got it, okay. The nice part about that is this system doesn't wait for the balls to be clearing out of here, and the difference is that if you suddenly have no balls in here, basically your hopper is playing catch up. So you know, you're firing, and you get a jam in here, and then you've got no balls in the feed tube. Well, the feed tube is like 3 or 4 balls long, and then your hopper all of a sudden says, "Oh, I'm out." So it's playing catch up. So what's going to happen is there's going to be some point when you're going to have a misfire in your marker because there's no paint in your marker. What the Spire does, it says beforehand, it already knows that you're firing, so it senses that you're firing, and it says, okay, the gun is moving, so therefore I need to start feeding it. So you never ever get a jam in this guy, you never ever get a misfire in this guy. That's the beauty of it. But if you were to jam for whatever reason, now we have a way out. So now you can hit this little button down here.
Right here on the
Oh, sorry, wrong side. And you hear it, it started going. It just went. Now, the really cool feature the one that I really, 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 really like is this guy. Will tell you if you're empty or not. So you've got a built-in feed ramp. Now, the feed ramp is attached to a sensor or a button of some kind, and you've got little indicator lights here on the bottom side, 2 of them. So no matter which side you're shooting from, you're going to be able to see those lights. Now, if you're full, you go blue, so you know you got paint. Say you run out, this thing pops up, you're red. So you know automatically, you don't even have to look inside of the marker. You're firing, you're firing, you're firing, and this guy turns red. You already know.
You hear the beeping too.
I gotta jump. Oh yeah, and there's that beeping too. Right, good point.
So it's visual and audible.
So you've got both audible and visual. You don't have to look inside. You don't have to check anything. You already know. You know, you whip out your feeder. You put it on there. You reload. You're ready to go.
Sure.
Now, one thing we're a little bit worried about is you see how this is hinging. There's a built-in hinge there that you cannot remove. You cannot remove the top from the bottom here, which also means you can't expand this. So if you were to want, I think this is the 200 version. If you were to want the 260 version, you have to buy a completely different body or a whole second one. You know, that's a drawback, but of course, like we said, these are the expensive ones.
Right.
Sure.
Your whole system just pops out like that. Let me kill it. Your whole system just pops out, easy cleaning, just a little magnet holds this in place. You know, you can clean up everything. There's no electronics left in your shell. You can clean that up. If you want a speed feed, you're going to have to buy it, unfortunately. So you're going to have to switch this out. I'm guessing probably a screw or a pin or something. I don't know. But you're going to have to pay another 20 bucks or so for that.
Yeah, well, the Virtue Crown, it's like $50.
Right,
It's
yeah,
very
yeah,
expensive.
yeah.
But it's
Crown.
also very nice.
And it is, it's a really nice one, yeah.
So.
Anyway, so that's the new Spire 3, which is upgraded from the original Spire. And being a Spire user myself, I would say I really like the new upgrades. It has these viewing windows on the back, which we really can't figure out why, because they're tinted. So you know you can't see in it anyways. Right. It's just like it's a mirror. You
it's
know?
Just for looks, I think.
Yeah,
aesthetic.
I mean, it's aesthetics, right? And speaking of aesthetics, the Spire, if you've ever owned one before, if you've ever looked at one, you're going to notice that there's a plethora of colors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, colors, camos. Interesting color
digital graphic things that match with the mask. Yeah,
exactly right. You can match it to whatever get up you've got going on the rest of your gear. I mean, you can see this one's like a purple and black, sort of like tiger stripe sort of thing. And I don't know how many colors they have out right now for this, but I guarantee you there's going to be probably 50 options within the next year or two. They're very good about that. Now, of course, the drawback is
the price.
$250 for this guy. Easy. I'm sure they probably have some premium ones for other colors and stuff, which are even higher. You know, so you pay for it, but like we said, this is the Cadillac. And in my personal opinion, this is the best one that you can get.
So yeah, let's go over that. So you said the Spire's, let's say best loader overall, money aside. You say it's the Spire.
Right, that's my vote. Like I said, I've used the Spire for years. I've never ever had a problem. You know, some of our other guys have some other various rotors or other feeders, rotors, whatever, and they've had issues with the same paint. And I've never ever had a problem with paint. With reballs, worked just fine, while other loaders had problems with reballs. And the Spire just kept going and going. Battery-wise, it's awesome. I think I played 10+ scenario games with the same set of batteries in here. You know, nearly 2 years, and then I finally had to switch it out, only because the light went yellow. And I just knew that the batteries were, you know, and whatever, batteries are cheap, so I switched them out. So in that case, it's pretty awesome. Everything is really well built, you know. The old one, like we said, it had some problems with the buttons. This one, no more problems with the buttons. It's not going to break.
Sure.
So, my opinion, yeah, I give it to the Spire for best overall, regardless of price.
Yeah.
That's me. What do you guys think?
Well, for me, I guess it's the Spire. It really is the nicest one. It's got all these features that some of these other ones don't have. It's just a very beautiful piece. And the things they think of when they design this, like the little magnetic, little things like magnetic release,
Don't have to worry about plastic pieces.
Right.
wearing down.
Just the little things they think of when they design this, really does make it a premium product.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. There's a lot of times in most of your markets where you're going to have the great names that you're really paying for the name more than the product. Virtue made their name on the original Spire, and they made some modifications with the 2. And it would have been very easy for them to just release the 3 with a couple small updates, but not much of a price point difference. But they're continuing to improve on one of the best products on the market. So if money is no object for you, absolutely, I would definitely suggest going with the Spire 3. With the price point, you can't beat it. So, but if money is an object for you, let's talk about that.
Yeah, best loader for the money.
Yeah, bang for buck. What would you guys say in terms of best option?
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, you've got, if you are going to do 50 cal, you only have one option. So,
Sure.
let's just knock that out. And if you're not going 50 cal, it doesn't matter either way because this Valken is a really great deal.
Right.
It's got the expandability. It's really tough. It's not going to break on you. It's reliable, and it's only coming in at $130. $130, yeah. So it's I think that's a really good deal right there. You've got the cheapest one, which is the rotor LTR, yeah, and
that's a solid product too.
If you're really strapped on cash and you need one, go with that one. But if you've got an extra $30, I'm gonna say go with this one, just because of all the all the options you've got for that.
Sure. You can expand it out, and like I like to say, I mean, especially I've got kids of my own, and they're getting to the point where they're really wanting to play. Of course, I'm probably going to start them out on 50 cal. So that's an automatic go-to with the VSL. You can start them with a good speed loader with their 50 cal gun, and then when they get older and they're getting a little more experience and they want to upgrade to a full-size marker, you can maintain with the same speed loader. You don't have to spend the additional money on a new loader. That loader is going to work out well for it. Really, at $130, the only thing you might need to change on that is going to be putting a speed feed on it, which would be $20. At $150, almost anything else out here is not going to have the option of going 200 or 260. So you're going to have that great option with VSL. At $100, this is hard to beat. If you're not worrying about how it looks, if you just want something that's going to run you durably for a long time, the rotors are going to do that. They can be a little picky though. So my suggestion, and I think we're all in the same boat with that, would be spend $20, $30 more and go ahead and get that VSL.
That's what I did. I mean, this is my personal loader. I just picked this up, and tomorrow I'll be playing with it. I had to choose, and I looked at the Spire. I could have purchased the other one, but I said, you know what? Just for me personally, it wasn't worth the extra money to get a really expensive loader, and I went with the Valken, VSL Valken Switch, because the pros were using it, and it looked great. And I want to support Valken in their in their new designs and their new products, and so that was the right product for me.
Cool.
So, all right. So that's it. We've gone through what we thought were the best loaders. We went through all these loaders. Again, you're not really choosing a wrong choice here with any of these.
They're all great.
Yeah, they're all great options, and that's why they're here. That's why we're discussing it. We're just really going over the fine-tuned detail between them. So that's it. That's what we have for today. Remember, like, share, or comment. And you guys will have a chance to win some of the products that we have to give out to you guys. Again, huge thanks to Pro Edge Paintball. If you're having issues with A&S Gear or Hustle or some of these other websites with their customer support or lack thereof, stop going to those sites. Just stop going. Go to proedgepb.com, all right, proedgepb.com, and they'll price match, and they'll take care of you. These are guys that own this shop. You can go to the Houston location. All right, they're real paintballers. All right, either like Matt or John from AC Dallas. All right, they are professional paintball players that own this store. And they're going to help you out because they know the best products in the market. So
for sure.
Thanks again to Pro Edge Paintball. They gave us this great stuff to hand out to you guys. So like, share, or comment, and within a week of releasing the video, we'll be giving out some products.
Awesome.
All right, so
Appreciate it, guys.
I'm Red,
I'm Havoc.
Honey Badger.
and this is Texas Night Stalkers Paintball.